Hey you, welcome back to the podcast. All right, so I want to start off today's show by praying and asking God to please keep my children asleep because Mama needs a couple of minutes to record a podcast. And they have been near me and around me and loud for so long that I've not been able to record this. And so here I am. Hello. All right, so today I want to talk to you about being stuck. Because, girl, it's true. It's real. It's something we all go through. And I want to take you through what I do when I'm stuck, because it's been a real struggle. Have you ever found yourself in a season of life where you just feel like there's just too much work to do in one day for just one person? Or like you're simply too tired and lack the energy and motivation to just keep going? Okay, how about this one? Maybe you're even feeling like you don't know where to start, or your situation is just too hopeless and it's too hopeless to even consider starting at all. I have been there. If you follow me or you're one of my clients, you probably know a lot about my personal life. Right now, we are crisis homeschooling 3 children. We are remodeling a home and we're selling it. And I'm, running a business and my husband's working overtime. Like, it's just too many things. There are days where I feel like there's too much to do and I'm out of energy and it's a little bit too hopeless to even consider starting. Like, have you ever been there? I have been there so much. I have had those days. Trust me, I've struggled and I've suffered as a result of those types of days. Those are the exact emotions, all of those states of feeling and situations, this overwhelm and all of this that caused me to perpetually fail on my weight loss journey. A lot of people take the emotional components of life, the overwhelm of life, the frustration of life, and they uncouple it from weight loss. But the truth is, you can't break it apart. I failed on weight loss because I didn't know how to make my life fit my weight loss program and how to make my weight loss program fit my life. Seriously, I couldn't figure it out until God. Just until God. And that doesn't mean that I don't still have bad days. I just shared with you all the things we're going through. Girl, I have bad days a lot. But what it does mean is that I know now how to recognize when I am stuck. And when I'm stuck, I'm able to now recognize when it happens versus just sitting and staying stuck and accepting it as a state of being that I can't get out of. This morning when I came down to my office and I read my morning devotional, I felt God impressing upon my heart that the scripture I was reading applied to me even on my weight loss journey, because all of this is connected. My entire life is connected. What I'm thinking and feeling emotionally and stressfully affects my weight loss journey. What I do daily affects my weight loss because it impacts my obedience. You know what I mean? Like, when I'm stressed and overwhelmed, it totally impacts my obedience. My obedience on my weight loss journey is not just my meal plan. It's obedience to my daily life plan. This morning, I read 1 Corinthians 6:19 and 20, which says, what does it say? Let me look over here. Don't you realize that your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit who lives in you and was given to you by God? You do not belong to yourself, for God bought you with a high price. So you must honor God with your body. And I could hear God telling me, in all ways, Sherrie, even with keeping your daily schedule, with making a daily schedule, with doing a little bit every single day, with the aim not being on perfection or even completion, but just having the aim set on today's obedience. When my day is focused on what I should be doing, I am setting myself up for progress toward success. Just by focused on what I should be doing, I'm honoring God with my body through my obedience. And when my days are aligned according to my values, if you're a personal client of mine or if you're in the thinner circle, that we go through the value exercise. I encourage you to know your values. And when my day is aligned according to my values, I have a plan for my day that is in alignment with God's will for my life. But when something happens outside of God's will in my day, all the things, I usually find myself frustrated and rushed or upset, and even just starting to raise my voice to the children or, to Harry, as I just start to spiral off track. And when I get off track in one area, it usually begins to show up in other areas as well. I begin to get a bit stuck in my thoughts and soon my feelings, and then, my actions. I start thinking that if I can't do my day my way, the way I planned to do it, the way I imagined myself doing it perfectly, then I can't do it at all. I usually start to desire okay, this is a truth moment. I start to desire sitting in my cozy chair in our sitting room and binge watching Project Runway all day. Not kidding you. I've been known, I'm human, I have been known to even let my children eat cereal for dinner when I'm having this kind of day, where I'm just stuck. And this leads me to being off track, not only for the day, but it starts to spill into the next day or two. And suddenly I just find myself feeling behind. And in that, I'm set up to be behind and rushed all week. This is simply a breeding ground for frustration and disappointment in my life. It's almost like an environment where stuck becomes a state of existence. I mean, have you ever been there? I'm sure I'm not alone. And that's all because things just simply didn't go as expected in one area. And as a result, all areas are now affected. As I went through my Christian life coaching certification program, I learned that there are really 7 main areas, 7 main causes that lead us to feeling stuck, to having emotions that lead us to being stuck. That we usually I find this with my clients and sometimes with myself, but we usually have one or sometimes even more of these causes or emotional characteristics manifesting in our daily lives. So the 7 characteristics or the feelings of being stuck are the following. Okay, here we go. Overwhelm, exhaustion, directionless, hopelessness, worthlessness, I guess, feeling alone, or even being surrounded by conflict. When we have one or even just a few of these, we tend to get stuck. And when we're stuck, we struggle getting unstuck. Now, I coach women through these areas all the time. I'm not even kidding you, nearly daily. And the antidote for being stuck is in realizing that you simply need to have a mommy time out with God. I'm not even kidding you. You don't need to binge watch Project Runway like I did, but you need some quiet time alone with your thoughts and with God. And when you get alone with Him, evaluate what you have been thinking and feeling and doing. And then put that observation, that evaluation, if you will, up against your personal values. And when you start to do this, it helps you to get unstuck because you start to see the path out. In the scenario that, I shared with you a couple minutes ago at the beginning, I showed you how I was getting off track, and that would lead me to being frustrated. And that is exactly where my stuck cycle, if you will, I guess that's a succinct way of saying it, my stuck cycle would begin. I would get off track, I would stop being obedient to my plan for the day, and then slowly I would start giving into my feelings and my desire for the comfy chair. And that's where my cycle of being stuck would begin. I would start to feel directionless, and that led me to feeling like my efforts were just simply pointless, and I began to lose my motivation in my flesh. Now, the old me saw being stuck as a big cozy chair that I could sulk in, and it fixed all my problems until it began to create them. It began to be the reason that I was simply stuck in my fat pants. So when I feel one of those 7 emotional states of being stuck cropping up in my spirit, I begin leaning on God more. I go into this metaphorical protection mode, if you will, where I only focus on the necessary tasks so to keep my strength in the spirit and not my flesh. It takes excuse me. It takes awareness, and it takes practice of awareness. Awareness of where you are stuck and what you are thinking and feeling that even caused you to become stuck in the first place. And from there, it takes planning. It takes awareness of your weaknesses and your obstacles and even your limits. It requires you to put more effort into preventing this from happening again so that you can start to step out of and break the cycle. God did not give you the spirit of Wonder Woman. He did give you the spirit of power and love and self-control. We know that from 2 Timothy 1:7. So use what He has given you. Plan your days in your strength, around your weaknesses, and in alignment with your values. And then follow that plan. That is you being obedient. When you do this, you will be in God's will for your day, and your life will suddenly just seem easier when you do it with Him in this way. You will have the strength to do what you need to do because you're being obedient, and His grace will be there to help you when you can't just be obedient. Direct your attention to being satisfied in His will for your life. Pray to be satisfied with what He's willed for you to do in this season of your life, even in weight loss, and trust that He will strengthen you. But it's going to require you to get out of your comfy chair and to do some hard things. When you start to seek God in this way, your life begins to honor Him. Honor Him with your obedience, even when you don't feel like it, because you are stuck. I like to say, when you don't feel like it, faith like it. So walk in your faith strength. Seek to be satisfied in doing His will, even with the mundane daily task. John Piper said this once in a sermon, and I have just hung on to this quote. He said that God is most glorified in you when you are most satisfied in Him. Oh, that's beautiful. So recognize that being stuck is simply a weapon formed against you. If you're feeling any of the 7 things that I mentioned, if you're feeling overwhelmed or exhausted or directionless or hopeless or worthless or alone or even surrounded by conflict, this is not from God. You are out of alignment with God's will for your life. You might be doing more than He's even called you to do for this day. Align your day according to your values. And when you are value-focused, you will find a way to get yourself unstuck. Do it with God. Don't do it by seeking a cozy chair like I did. Instead, seek to be satisfied in Him, even in weight loss.